Welcome to Anime Royalty Radio, guys. Wow, I about messed that all up. And with me, as always, Don Juan.
What's up?
Aaron Legend.
Hello.
And I'm Mr. Spud. And this is our third part that we're going to release later on about comics.
Indeed.
Now, before we do that, we got to give out a special shout out to our buddy Lance, also known as Cryptic Chalk on Twitch. You need to hit him up and watch him. He plays a lot of BRs, Warzone, Apex Legend, I know for sure. And I know he's getting into Rogue Company, and he is pretty amazing. And damn good guy. I'll leave it at that. You need to check him out. Go. I don't know what it is on Twitch.
Do the thing.
Do the Twitch stuff. I don't know what it is.
Do the thing.
It's definitely worth checking out, guys.
Put it right here.
Yeah, right there.
Right.
Up somewhere.
Right.
What are y'all pointing at?
Right. We'll put it right here.
We're putting the link.
Oh yeah.
But it's somewhere. It's over in this area. Okay. With that being said, Marvel has just released and teased us about a new Venom series coming out called King in Black.
Freaking tease.
I know. They're such teases. Now, King in Black is supposed to be the successor of the Absolute Carnage series, which deals with the king of the symbiotes, if I'm not mistaken, and the Null. From what I've been reading, it's basically the Null versus the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But that begs the question. Disney owns Marvel.
Yes.
Okay? Is Venom becoming more of a limelight character? Because he is. We're seeing he's got the movie. He's becoming a main staple now in almost any Spider-Man game or new TV shows, like the Disney one that you watched. Becoming a main thing. Is this bad or good for his character? I say bad.
I do too, because I know they're just going to ruin not only Venom, but all the characters around Venom that are also supposed to be rated R. Like the Null. If you guys don't know who the Null is, don't feel bad, because I don't either. But looking at his character design alone, even from the Ultimate Carnage series.
Absolute Carnage.
Absolute Carnage, yes. Imagine Dracula, but with the symbiote. Like, this guy just looks angry.
He really does. He kind of looks like a... He does, that's a perfect thing. Think of him as Dracula with white hair and almost like a Venom symbol on his thing. I mean, it really is. But with him being the king of symbiotes and what Venom actually is, he's supposed to be rated R. Let's be honest. Yeah. And look at Carnage. How can they fit Carnage? Because Disney has a problem with making everything kid-friendly. The last rated R movie that Disney made back in the day was, I think, Black Hole or Dark Hole. It was an 80s horror movie. That's how long ago it was.
Oh, no. What about Deadpool?
Deadpool at the time was not owned by Disney. That was still Fox. So they're allowed to do that. Well, and hell, they even toned it down for China.
It's going to be really hard to do Cletus Cassidy's character in general. Like, he debuted as the guy that not only killed his parents, but his wife and kids, too.
Yeah, he's a serial murderer.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you going to sugarcoat that? Oh, he did bad things.
No, he's in jail, and that's it. Now he's Carnage.
And that also brings up bad questions with Sony in their release of There Will Be Carnage, which is Venom 2. Now, granted, they did make Venom... The first Venom, PG-13, which it was still good.
It was good.
Need to be rated R, though. Needs to be rated R. 110% rated R.
You just don't get that full impact if it's PG.
You really don't. Like, Venom as a character, you don't really get to see his full character unless you get to see him just with blood dripping down his mouth, like gory-ish.
Yeah, I'm going to eat your brains.
Yes.
Not no, I'm a turd in the wind. I mean, now granted... oh, you're a turd in the wind, whatever. Like a turd in the wind. That line. Which is understandable.
Rolling down the street like a turd in the wind.
Which, you can do that. It makes him menacing, but it doesn't make him as menacing as he should be. Read the comics. I'm serious. He's so brutal. And this just doesn't do it. So, Disney is just going to ruin this. And how far are they going to let it get dark or whatever?
That's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, Disney's not ruining it. And all the comic book fans are just freaking out. Like,
Don't even get me started on the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I can understand your skepticism, but at the same time, how many times has Disney made something gory and horrific for adults? I know what you're thinking. Marvel, it's for kids.
No, it's not.
No, it is not.
The Punisher's not made for kids.
Mm-mm. And look at any of the Punisher movies, even the bad ones. Like, they are not made for kids.
Which bad one? I don't know what you're talking
The
about.
Dolph Lundgren one.
No, don't you dare.
That
Even
one
with his
wasn't great.
painted on 5 o'clock shadow, don't you dare. I loved it.
So you like that, angle shot of his balls.
I mean, that was not the greatest part of that, but let me tell you.
just ride my motorcycle through the sewers and check out my balls.
I forgot all about that till you said it. I was like, oh yeah, that's in there.
I'm like, wait a minute. How does he turn around?
I don't know. I still think that Sony is our best hope here. Even if it's kept PG, I still think Sony's...
I disagree.
Really?
I know I'm way late to this party. But I have played the Spider-Man game. And I have a huge problem. Game is great. Don't get me wrong. I even shed tears at the ending. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it because I know most people who are going to watch this have played it. Aunt May dies. And it was tragic. It was tragic. I literally cried. But to be honest, her character model was ugly. She looked like a Southern woman.
Yeah.
Not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying she doesn't belong in New York looking like that.
She
Sorry.
looked like if you took every Food Network's host.
Paula Deen
I'm
up in
talking
this.
Paula Deen, Barefoot Contessa.
All of them.
Who was the other one?
There's a lot.
Starts with an R.
Kathy?
Rachel Ray?
Rachel Ray.
Oh, okay.
If you mix all of them together and give them red hair, that's who Aunt May was.
And it just... I mean, if I'm going to be very honest about that game... Sorry, I had to burp. It really bothered me, too, how they made Peter Parker look.
Yeah, he was an amalgamation of like Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. Which you can just stop with Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland. We didn't need that awkward Andrew Garfield mix. Like, don't get me wrong, he was great, but everything that people didn't like about him was the Garfield parts, like the hair, how tall he was, just the weird, awkward Andrew Garfield mix that you threw in. Like, I get it. It's the whole Batman thing where you're trying to mix all Batmans together to make a really good Batman character. It doesn't work the same. Andrew Garfield was the outlier.
Now, I know we're kind of going off on Spider-Man, but there's a reason why I bring that up. That was made by Sony. That is a Sony PlayStation exclusive.
Right.
They did a lot of things right. Doc Ock's character was good. Mr. Negative. Everybody was good on that. But no Venom. And I was sitting there playing, and I already knew there was no Venom. So I was like, okay, I wonder why. They haven't found the symbiote yet, or something like that. And then I get to the end credits. And there's Norman Osborn, who is not Green Goblin yet, somehow, putting his hand on a tank, talking to Harry, because in this universe, Harry is sick with some type of illness or whatever that killed his mother. And he's saying, I love you, Harry. I'll try my best to find whatever I can. And about 2 seconds after that, a black ooze goes to the wall or on the glass where his hand's at. So they made Harry Osborn Venom. I don't like that.
They've done that a few different times.
Listen, there's only 2 good Venoms.
Eddie Brock and Flash Thompson.
No, Marcus Garvey.
Flash Thompson.
No Agent Venom up in
Yes,
here. No,
Agent
no.
Venom.
No, I hate Agent Venom. It's Punisher. Look,
Agent
it's
Venom.
it's literally where's he at? He's somewhere over there. He's over there.
To be honest, Eddie Brock is good as no matter who he plays, whether it's Venom, Toxin, Anti-Venom. He's a good character overall because you really feel for that character. That's something that Marvel is known for doing. Granted, their stories might not be super original or super dark or super intriguing, but they have amazing characters. Whereas DC has amazing,
talked about that. Yeah,
they have amazing, dark, gritty
stories.
Makes you feel bad for their life stories, but the characters aren't that fleshed out.
I mean, look at the difference. And this is another reason why I think DC is going to win the comic book wars later on. I know I'm saying
maybe not the movie wars, but comic book wars.
But they're going to win it because if you read the difference between, Crisis of Infinite Earths, which is the destruction of the 52 universes, basically, compared to the Infinity Gauntlet.
Well, you don't even have to take it that far. You can take literally almost any Batman issue.
Nightfall. Nightfall alone.
Any Batman comic. And then compare it to literally any Spider-Man comic.
There's so many similarities.
You'll be amazed at how fleshed out Peter Parker's life is, how cool of a character he is. But the hardest stressful moment he has to deal with, maybe saving one person's life, two person's life, it's a small stressful feeling. Whereas Batman, he is deep in the dirt, like just gritty as all get out. The entire comic will just make you wonder, oh my gosh, am I going to have to like get down there in the dirt with him to figure out what's going on here? Like,
yeah, like the Deceased novel and
Right.
stuff like that.
A DC comic will make you wonder what's going on in the story, where a Marvel comic will make you wonder what's going on with this character. And that's just their strengths and weaknesses. But when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Disney's like, well, we can't really go
Marketable.
that far with the characters because, you know, it's not that marketable. Like, we can't get kids to come in and see it. And if kids don't come in and see it, then they're not fans for life. And they just don't compromise that well. And that's why you don't see very many horrific or gory or super fleshed out kind of characters from Disney. They're marketable and they're lovable. Frozen.
Yeah, Frozen, Moana.
But they're not gory. They're
No.
not horrific. There's not that one character that you can say, oh yeah, you remember that character that was like super dark and just didn't belong in the Disney movie, just stood out that everybody loved? No, you didn't, because that character doesn't exist.
Or he died in that movie and then was forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Only remember because he's the bad guy in that movie. And then you only remember him because he was in that movie.
Well, think of the tragedy of Crossbones. Now that's a dark character.
Exactly.
But how long did he last in the movie?
Not long. right?
5 minutes?
5 minutes?
5 minutes, yeah.
He didn't even get to kill anybody.
Because
I didn't feel bad for that character. He was just dead.
And they really try to stress that in Endgame with Hawkeye. Ronan, don't give me hope. It's not going to work. One, we don't know what happened to you. If you're not a comic book fan, you don't know the real pain Hawkeye went into to become Ronan, basically.
And they're trying to flesh that out a little bit. I've noticed with the new Black Widow movie.
Which
Yeah,
you can't do that with Black Widow.
It's just going to be action-packed and a little bit of mystery. There's no deep fleshing out of the things that she actually had to go through in her younger life.
God, yes.
Which would make her a way better character. Would it be gauged towards adults? Yes. But that would give kids something to look forward to. Like, yeah, they might not be able to watch the rated R movie, but as they get older, they look back and say, hey, there's a really dark movie about Black Widow.
Exactly. And now, you do have your PG characters with this, too. Iron Man's a PG character. Which
yeah.
He's kind of, if you really think about it, Disney did not, even early Fox, the early Iron Man movies, didn't really touch on his alcoholism and everything. Like, his vices alone in his early character. I mean,
that was the only adult-rated thing about him, like his vices. He didn't really do anything really dark other than sell weapons to people that he shouldn't have.
right.
But that was earlier on in his character.
Right, and but they barely touched on it in the comics,
Mhm.
or not the comics, the movies, and that's another thing that bothered me. They barely touched on it. With Guardians, which is one of my favorite MCU movies,
Mm-hmm.
they don't follow the whole fact that Drax is actually Thanos' brother. You know, it's Drax the Destroyer, not Drax who was on this planet whose family died to Thanos. No, it's his brother. He's trying to stop his brother.
And characters that are like that, you can't just dumb them down. And I understand that you want to be able to dumb them down for marketing reasons, but at the same time, you can't just bleed every single character you have to little children. Like Deadpool. Deadpool 1, amazing. Deadpool 2, awesome.
Once Upon a Time.
The holiday movie. Was
The
terrible.
holiday movie, rated for PG-13. Terrible.
Well, and you know what's so funny about Deadpool, though? Deadpool is that special criteria.
Mm.
He is rated R. He is this, but he's a funny rated R.
He's not gory. He's funny because he's meant to relay his jokes to adults. But
Right.
when it comes to goriness or something like that, it wasn't really there. Like, yeah, he gets his arm chopped off.
But
okay.
no blood. No real blood and gore.
The final scene, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the first one, where he shoots what's-his-face in the head, you see Colossus just throw up. He doesn't throw up. You don't get to see it, and you don't get to see the guy's actual head explode. I'm not advocating for 100% gore. I'm just saying the character was marketed towards funny, which was rated R, and it worked. but that's not Deadpool's full character.
And see, that's where I think me and you definitely agree. This is going to ruin Venom. Venom is marketed to not be funny. Now, granted, him and his symbiote do have funny little communications together because
they have funny moments. Yeah, it's an awkward situation. Every awkward situation is going to have funny moments.
And that's because the original. Now, before y'all know, do y'all know who the original first host, not King, but the original first host for the Venom symbiote was?
Deadpool.
Yeah, that's the reason why he's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The exact reason why he's crazy. It was Deadpool.
But it's what the characters are supposed to symbolize that really brings them out. Like Venom and Eddie Brock's union is supposed to symbolize the darkness inside of each person.
And hatred.
It just happens that Eddie's can talk. And when it came to the Venom movie, yeah, it was really nice to see how Venom was so talkative, and it was just like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get home and not be captured. Okay, thanks.
Well, speaking of the movies, in the sequel, whenever that it comes out,
it's supposed to be October 2021. Last I heard.
Well, do you think that Woody Harrelson is going to make a good Carnage?
Yes.
Or a good Carnage host?
Yes.
If he's given full control
and rated R.
I don't see why not. He's got the mannerisms and the acting style to be a good crazy symbiote.
Mm-hmm.
But will they let him? Just like Tom Holland could be this rage monster that Venom is supposed to be.
Tom Hardy.
You said Tom Holland.
Oh, sorry. Tom Hardy. If he's given the control to be the rage monster that Venom is supposed to be, he would make an awesome Venom. He did really good in the last Venom movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's not Venom's full character.
No, and we're still missing one of the most vital parts of Venom's existence.
Spider-Man.
There is no instance in Spider. They name drop, or not really name drop. They put in when he's doing his date scene at the beginning that he had to go to San Francisco. They don't say why, and he doesn't have the Venom symbiote yet. But if you know the Lethal Protector series and the events of what happened after Spider-Man or Absolute Carnage, not Absolute Carnage, but the Ultimate Carnage, the first appearance of Carnage and stuff like that. Basically, Spider-Man and Venom come to an agreement and say, look, I'm not going to mess with you no more. I'm going to go cross coast. So that's the reason why he goes to San Francisco.
Yeah, and Spider-Man's like, listen, if you've really given up just being an evil person, I'm not going to follow you. But if I hear one word from San Francisco saying that you're messing stuff up,
I'm coming to get you.
I'm coming to get you.
And in the Lethal Protector series, he shows up because there was a news thing that showed Venom on there, and it was kind of misleading because he was actually chasing after.
It's a big character development moment for Venom because he's realized his whole life shouldn't be focused around just killing one person. He can have a greater existence, and that's what he goes to San Francisco for. And he gets there and he realizes, well, dang, I have all this power and I'm not doing anything with it. He gains that Spider-Man complex. With great power comes great responsibility. And even though the media doesn't portray him the right way, he still tries to do that. And when the media does, Spider-Man shows up. He's like, hey, you're causing trouble.
They get in a fight, to get you. And that's one thing that Venom says right off the bat. He stops him from hitting him. Doesn't hurt Spider-Man, just kind of pins him. Says, what are you doing here? I'm not doing anything wrong. I've kept our end of the bargain.
Mm-hmm. But to see all of that character development disappear and not even exist in the beginning, it just makes the character seem lackluster overall.
Now, I'm so happy, though, that Venom is back with Eddie Brock, which I did, I think, last year with Venom 150. I have that comic book. I had to get it because it's the reunion, damn it. So, luckily, they're back together. And that is one good thing that Disney did do, or Marvel being owned by Disney. I'm just so scared about this movie or this series alone. I'm still going to read it because I'm super interested in it because it's Venom.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
But I do not think Disney is good at all for
Venom's character
or any rated R character from the Marvel universe. Marvel Knights. The Marvel Knights character or series is all these dark characters. Moon Knight, Punisher, Venom, Ghost Rider. Supposed to be rated R. And that's why I'm so scared when they release the Moon Knight show on Disney Plus.
Yeah. All right. So with all that being said, let us know what you guys think down in the comments.
Yep. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see y'all next time with some new topics, a new figure, totally, and maybe a new studio
Maybe.
location.
Yeah.
Well, all right. We out.
Peace.